Start off by congratulating our women's soccer team for winning the Big Ten regular season and also winning the Big Ten tournament. So awesome for them and so cool to be able to be there to celebrate last evening when they arrived. Really special moment. A lot of our players were out there, coaches, etc. Also want to give my condolences and our team's condolences and prayers to Mia Hammond's family. Just an awful situation. So I want to make sure that we hit on that first and just let her parents and her family know how she impacted us, and she's certainly in our thoughts and prayers. As for the game, Saturday, very disappointed in how we played on offense and on special teams. I thought defensively we played very well against a team that we knew we were going to be able to stop, and we did what we were supposed to do, which was not allow them to score a lot of points. Unfortunately, we gave them the ball inside the 10-yard line, which is the one thing we said we could not do, and gave them a short field and gave them an opportunity to score a touchdown. We got the ball on a short field based on a fantastic block punt, scored a touchdown, but outside of those scores, neither team really moved the ball very well against one another. I think both teams were in the 200 yards, 250 yards total offense. And expected in a lot of ways in terms of how good of a defense I believe they have. I saw that the week prior in the game that they played. I saw it in many other times when they were healthy, what their defense looked like, and felt like we probably had some opportunities that we missed on for one reason or another. They're extremely physical, extremely big, and their front seven was certainly very hard to handle. On top of that, was one of those games that probably felt like a November Big Ten game in Madison, Wisconsin, where we allowed the crowd to get back into it in the fourth quarter. We had plenty of opportunities, plenty of drives, but our field position was awful. We had 5 drives, and all of which were started inside the 10-yard line in the second half. And driving 90 yards against that defense, it is extremely hard to do. We turned it over twice. They did not turn it over at all, although they had the ball on the ground 4 different times, none of which we were able to fall on. So it just happened to be, I would say, a little bit of Murphy's Law. What could go wrong did go wrong. And, we have to learn how to win in those type games. You're in the Big Ten, you're going to have to win ugly. You're not going to win every game by a bunch of points. You have to know how to win games where you score under 20 points, which was clear throughout the weekend. That being said, we move on. And we prepare for Purdue. And we will have another challenge ahead of us. There are no easy games in the Big Ten. There are no games that aren't extremely difficult. I saw that you look at Purdue's game against Michigan. At Michigan, I think it was 21-16. You look at Purdue's game against Rutgers. It was, I think, 27-24, 27-24 against Minnesota, I believe. So we know that we're going to have a battle in front of us. Their score against Illinois, I think, was 42-27. So we're ready for that challenge. Looking forward to it. We have some guys that are not able to play probably or will have to monitor. We certainly had that in the second half of the game on Saturday. But all in all, we're ready for a very good game on Saturday, and we hope that we have a full house, and we have a very loud crowd, and we can get our crowd going in the same way that Wisconsin was able to do it on Saturday, and the same way we were able to do it against Illinois here.
Yeah, what happened with Jonah in the second half? I think at halftime you said he was good to go, and then he didn't play.
Yeah, he tried to go. We thought that he was going to be able to push off of his leg and use his knee, but he wasn't able to do it. I was surprised at halftime. We felt pretty good that we were able to treat it up. We put a brace on him, and we felt that brace was going to be good enough to be able to allow him to finish the game. But he was not able to protect himself.
What's the status for Saturday?
We're expecting this week to put him through a lot of treatment and be able to play him. But we will certainly really make that a day-by-day type deal. But I would say right now he is in the questionable mode.
It's a knee, is that right?
How about Denzel?
Denzel, we will see. He rolled his ankle pretty good. And so he played for most of the second half. There was a lot of plays that he had to take off and then come back in a couple plays later. But we'll have to see how he does this week in practice. We're not practicing today. Yesterday we did not go out on the field due to we were pretty dinged up. So we'll see what it looks like tomorrow.
How about the two linemen? Any updates on them?
Yeah, Landon, same situation. Nothing will change with Landon. We'll have to see if we could change his cast out to be able to help him be, let's call it, more successful playing center. It's very hard to do that with the ball cast on. So we'll see what that looks like as we go. Drew will be a challenge to get back, but we'll see what it looks like. He kind of got rolled up on pretty good and was not able to play in the second half.
You mentioned a couple of guys wouldn't be able to play. Can you give me names of what's going on there?
No, I just went through all of them.
What were your conversations like with Damon during the game, after the game, up until today?
Same as usual. That we talked about the fact that there were some plays out there. We're up 10-3. We have the ball 1st and 10 on the 36-yard line. Have a chance to go up 17-3. We don't want to take risks when we don't need to take risks in a game like that. We felt 17 points was going to win us the game. And, tried to put him away, I think. And, I think he would have preferred to hit Chris in that situation. But on the same token, he felt like he was very mentally tough all game long. He handled himself exceptionally well. He learned from every mistake. He learned from the success, missed some throws that he traditionally never misses. Missed a corner route to Amari early on. I have not seen him miss that in probably a year. But that happens. A couple of plays here or there that he probably would like back. Obviously, we talked about the importance of ball security. And, this is a great opportunity for him to continue to learn. And I really do believe that every single week he's going to have a great learning experience. And every single week he's just going to continue to get better. And, we have to realize that every game is going to be something different. He's never played in those elements before. The crowd got super into it in the fourth quarter. The game was exceptionally close. The weather turned up a notch. All those things happen in the Big Ten, and these are all new experiences. And he's 19, and he is a sophomore, and he's going to continue to get better. And every game he goes out and plays great. That doesn't mean that we should expect that every single game he plays. Just like if he struggles in a game, we shouldn't expect that in every single game. I continue to see him getting better and better and better. I think he's one of the best players that I've ever coached at the position. And I'm looking forward to continuing to watch his growth each week and how he comes back this Saturday and the next Saturday and the next Saturday after that will all be great indicators of the future success he'll have with us.
Being that he is only 19, I know sometimes it's easy to try to put more on him than think he's still only 19. How hard is it to balance not putting too much on him at such a young age?
I think that we've balanced that out really well. We look at, he had 580 yards a couple weeks ago combined in total offense. I think he's had multiple games of 4 touchdowns or more in a game. He's managed to be able to run the football very successfully and throw the football. He has one of the highest completion percentages in all of college football. He's made minimal mistakes in turning the ball over. I think we're 5th in the country in total turnovers, 6th in the country, with 8 total turnovers in 9 games. So I believe that he's done a great job of being able to handle himself in this manner, but we've lost a few games at Michigan, at Wisconsin, and home against Ohio State. And I would say that He's learned from each one of those. And as always, the quarterbacks, the head coaches, will always be the ones that people talk about. And he is continuing to grow and mature. And it's my responsibility to make sure that I continue to give him confidence and that he continues to know how much we believe in him. He is a fantastic football player, and I'm expecting a great game from him.
I know you've talked a lot about why you like Denzel as the punt returner. Is he still the primary plan if he's healthy and available this week?
Yeah, well, if he's healthy, he'll punt return. I think this past week we rotated through. Unfortunately, Rashawn Clark got hurt as well, so we're not sure where he's at. He hyperextended his knee, so we'll have to see what that looks like. And then Des Roebuck was back there. But, all three phases are very important to the success of the team. And, with Denzel, there's been times that he's been able to give us really good field position. There were times that he was able to score. There has been times that he's been able to field some very difficult punts. But on the same token, we've got to make sure that we protect him and do a great job of blocking for him if we are going to take a return.
Mikel Esteen came out there in the third or fourth quarter. Was there any update on him?
Yeah, we'll wait and see what that looks like. I think that he's probably day by day, but I'm hopeful he'll be able to play.
Coach, you blocked a punt. You gave up a fake punt. You had an illegal fair catch. You had a field goal block. Can you talk a little bit about special teams?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it wasn't good enough, and really, you have to win at least two phases if you're going to win a Big Ten game, and I think we only won one phase, which was our defense. And then special teams, the field position was the problem on Saturday. To be able to drive over 90 yards is almost impossible, as I was saying, in the second half. And a lot of that came from flipping the field. We tried a 50-yard field goal from the 32-yard line. I wasn't going to punt it from the 32. It was 4th and 5. You either go for it and you give them the ball. If you don't get it on the 27 to 32, or you try to tie the game and not expect them to drive 68 yards. They drove about 14 yards and then were able to punt it back to us on the -8. The block, the next one was the fair catch that you mentioned. That was a situation where Adam is, I think, very accustomed to the ball being kicked to him, and he is always traditionally the one that makes the fair catch decision. And for the first time in the last 3 or 4 weeks, the ball got kicked to the off returner because it was Amari and it wasn't Jonah. And when it got kicked to the off returner, I think he just immediately put his arms out. And when you put your arms out, you can't return it. Amari didn't see that he put his arm out, so we had the ball put on the 7-yard line. The fake punt was a well-executed play by them. It ended in no points, but it ended in a complete change in field position again. And we had the ball on the 4-yard line after the fake punt and had to go 96 yards. So all of those things were very difficult to deal with. We had to change a lot of different personnel groupings during the game because of injuries throughout that game. Guys that have accustomed to being on special teams, we had to play some other players. We had to get into our 2 deep, 3 deep, which is not what we're normally accustomed to, but it was just one of those games that injuries started piling up, and some guys were asked to do some things that they haven't been doing. And then on the same token, I want to credit Anthony Ward. He set up, he did a beautiful job on blocking a punt and putting the ball down on the 1-yard line for us. He did that exact same block when we were back at Arizona. He blocked the same punt against Utah. And it was just reminded me of a great moment where at that one he was able to score the touchdown. This one we were able to throw it to Denzel. But certainly need to be better in that phase as well.
You always, after a loss, need to bounce back, and I'm sure you monitor your guys to see if there's any residue and all that. This is the first time I think you lost to somebody you were favored to beat, fairly substantially, I think. Is there any extra concern about your guys, and if the air went out of the balloon a little bit? I know it did with some of the fans, but are you guys pretty resilient? Or
yeah, I'm not worried about the air. Did not go out of the balloon in any of our players. We went to Madison, Wisconsin, and we lost 13-10. Our guys are extremely excited about coming back at home. We're 6-3. We were last year 6-6. It took us till the second to last game of the season to get to 6 wins a year ago. We've got 3 games left to play. We're already at 6 wins. We're playing with multiple freshmen and sophomores. We're probably the only team in college football that starts at least 2 freshman wide receivers, starts a freshman offensive lineman, had to play with a backup center, had to play with a backup right tackle, starts a freshman safety, freshman linebackers. So no, our guys are extremely excited to go out and play on Saturday, and they can't wait for the opportunity to get back at it. And I think that as we go through these processes and as we're building this program, we certainly will see ups and downs in games that we wish we won that we didn't, and games that we weren't expected to win that we do.
You mentioned guys who've been asked to do a lot of different things. Zach Henning has played, it seems like, every position on the O-line, played some jumbo tight end, but he gets to play center against Wisconsin, the only guy who didn't give up pressure. What did you think about the way that he stepped into that role, especially if Landon's limited again?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. We expected him to do a really good job. We've used him as our utility man. We had the extra tight end. We put him in as the extra tight end when we were down tight ends. We were in a game against Michigan where we only had 1 tight end after the second quarter. We had a game where we had to prepare against Illinois where we only had 1 healthy tight end and the true freshman as the backup. And we were able to ask Zach to be our extra lineman. In this case, we had to ask him to be our starting or our center against a 6'6" defensive tackle. That's one of the better ones in all of the Big Ten. Probably my guess is their linebacker will be a freshman All-American for sure, if not an all Big Ten player. Number 8, I would say that their pass rushers, both 22 and 17, are elite, and they run a ton of line games. And I thought Zach did a great job of handling that. We had to go to Pocky at right tackle as we were struggling at right tackle when we lost Drew, and Swanee really struggled with penalties. And I thought Pocky stepped in and did a really nice job. And obviously Carver and John did a better job, but there was a lot of room to grow in that game. And we certainly dealt with a really, really good front and a team that when other teams don't score on defense and other teams don't take the ball away from them, they're pretty hard to score against.
Do you turn to Pocky at right tackle this week if Drew can't go?
I don't know yet. We're gonna have a few different players that we can look to play at right tackle, knowing that we would have a week to prepare them rather than just 5 minutes to make a decision in between series. So we've got some guys that have played right tackle before, that we might look at as well if it's not just Pocky. But yeah, Pocky would certainly be one, and then Pocky also has the ability to play guard. Champ, John Mills, there's a lot of guys that have played tackle in high school, and now it might be an opportunity for them, but we're still waiting to see what happens with Drew.
Jed, go back and talk about the 50-yarder that got blocked by Grady, why that was the right call versus going forward on 4th and 5.
We were at that point in time, I think 4 for 13 or maybe 3 for 13 on 3rd down. We just had a 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 7 that we didn't convert. Got to 4th and 5 on a scramble. The wind was in our favor in that case. We felt like he just booted a 43-yarder, I think it was, and hit it clean and hit it with certainly would have made it for 50. The 151-yarder we've had this year, he's made. Felt like it was a chance to tie the game. I wasn't worried that they were going to be able to drive down the field and get 65 yards. I think they got 18 yards after that. So I felt like if we missed it, they get the ball on the 32-yard line. I wasn't going to punt it with the risk of going out of bounds going into the end zone. It would be a 7-yard change of field position. So it just felt at the time, let's tie the game. If we don't tie the game, we'll get the ball back.
Jacob Manu didn't play, didn't suit. Any decision with him?
No decision.
Will Jordan Washington be back this week?
I think so, yeah. We'll see, but right now the plan is yes.
The chatter amongst the fan base, whatever, on 3rd and 12 when DeMond fumbled.
Yeah.
Up 10-3, I believe, at that point. Why not just be ultra conservative, the weather, the elements, shut her down, play for the punt, and get rid of it, as opposed to having DeMond drop back and try to keep that drive going?
Yeah, well, we're running a quick little slant that we wound up getting vision in front of his eyes, so he didn't see it. We'll probably get the ball out of our hands in about 1.5 seconds was what the call was. When whatever happened that we didn't see the rating on the slant, we told him, you got to just scramble forward next time, protect the football and go down. Hand the ball off in that situation. It was 3rd and 7, really the play before, and we false started, which then put us back at 3rd and 12. So, in those situations, you're either going to run the football, you're going to throw a screen, or you're going to throw a quick game. I didn't want to punt in those elements from our end zone. So my hope was to be able to get at least half the distance back, if nothing else, and then be able to punt the ball from a little bit further away. As I was concerned, we didn't have Jonah, I don't think, at that point in the punt, as he's a big part of our punt block group, I should say, our punt coverage group. So we're trying to protect it a little bit.
What would your message be to fans who see certain jobs open and see your name attached to them and showing up on lists and see the young talent you guys have and want to be really excited about the future, but are concerned about what it would mean if things went that way?
Yeah, I would say those lists are made by people that have no idea what's going on. Honestly, they don't know what's happening in our program. They have no idea how excited I am about the youth in our program. They have no idea how excited I am about the fact that we're playing 6 or 7 true freshmen. No idea how excited I am about the fact that Damon Williams, I believe, has a chance over the next year or 2 years after this to be one of the all-time best quarterbacks that have come through this area. I don't think that they would know how I enjoy coaching here, that we've spent a ton of money into building this program the way we want to build it, that I had a great hand in all the facilities. I was a big part of making the decisions on how we wanted to recreate this space, to give our players an unbelievable opportunity to have a recovery room that they never had. Working on making sure that they have the best nutrition they could possibly have, give them great new meeting rooms, new office spaces for our coaches. I think, unfortunately, what happens is they just want to tie coaches to lists, and then we have to sit there and defend it rather than just be able to just tell our fans, like, our players, our coaching staff, myself, my family, we love coaching at the University of Washington. And the ridiculousness of people that want to claim that because my wife and daughters are living in Arizona, because I have a 16-year-old who's been in 5 different schools in the last 8 years to finish her high school, has anything to do with my decision, or the ridiculousness of just putting my name on a list just to do it. Only that does affect recruiting. It affects our team. It affects our staff. And my hope is that our players, our coaches, our families understand how much we love it at Washington.
Jedd, you talked about the fact a little bit earlier that you can't win every game, scoring a whole ton of points in the Big Ten and everything like that. What do you think that you and your team just learned the most from this road trip?
Winning ugly. Winning ugly is okay. I think that, talking about when it is 3rd and 12, how you don't have to try to make a hero play, how punting is okay. If you're in a situation where your first read you're spooked about or you don't want to make that throw, just go down. If you don't feel great about a shot play, you don't have to take the shot. If, playing field position as a coach might be better in some regards, maybe we do pin them back. Maybe we try to kick them back and maybe flip the field, knowing that weather elements are unique, whether there's some differences in terms of the type of offenses, the quality of offenses that we see versus some of the other offenses that we've seen in the past. I think every game is a great learning experience. I also believe size is a huge part of coaching in the Big Ten. And every time we play a different team that we haven't played in the past, I kind of look at their rosters and I look to see how they're built, and I look to see the middle of their defense and the middle of their offense, meaning their guards, their centers, their linebackers, their safeties, their running backs, their tight ends, and how they're able to really have such big wingspans and such great size, and the importance of, as we're building our rosters, making sure that we get those interior defensive linemen at 6'5" and 6'6", whether we get those guards that have those big arms and are able to really handle the 3 techniques and the shades that are presented to us, and the tall linebackers. There's a huge difference in terms of the height of linebackers in the Big Ten that we've noticed when we played Ohio State, when we played Michigan, when we played Wisconsin. So all those things we've learned every time we go out there, and we're continuing to try to build this program the way we want it.
With Damon, he's probably taken more hits than any quarterback here since maybe Isaiah Stanback or Marcus Tuiasosopo, but he's nowhere near their size.
Yeah.
What's it like for him after a game, being a smaller guy, take those mounted hits, the kind of recovery time, and he's got to be dinged up a little bit after the amount of hits he's taken.
Yeah, he's tough as nails, man. I told him we do not want to take those many hits from the first hit of the game. Now, you can't control that one. From a hit after a false start was called, we can't control that one. From some other hits that were hit that when he was sliding, we can't control those. But what we have to do is we have to make sure that there's some either-or plays that we would prefer to avoid the hit. There's some either-or plays that we prefer the ball handed. There's some either-or plays that we prefer the check down rather than wait and try to make a deeper throw down the field and turn it into a scramble. So he's got an elite skill set that is a learning curve to coach in a lot of regards, because in some ways you would tell guys, hey, get that out of your hand right now. And other times you'd be like, wow, it was 3rd and 10 and you just scrambled for 14 yards because you didn't just kick it out of your hands right now. And it's a balancing act that we're really working on his nutrition. We're really working on getting him bigger. We're really going to use this off season to try to put weight on him and really to try to put muscle mass on him, because we really need to protect him. And we'll do that the best we can with play calls. But he's a competitor, and he wanted to win that game in the worst way.
You mentioned how important Jonah was to the punt shield. How confident are you in your punting team's ability to flip the field for you guys right now?
Well, we didn't punt very well, so not very confident after that game, but confident overall from what I've seen in practice. We haven't punted too much this season, so but I was disappointed in how we punted, and we need to be better there. We need to be better in protection. We need to be better with our technique in punting. We need to get the ball out of off our foot quicker, and we need to make sure that whole operation puts us in position that we can flip the field. That game was all based on field position, and as the second half, as it was 10-3 at halftime, it was very clear that it was going to be a field position game, and they won the field position and in turn won the game.
Better scouting report than usual this week, considering you have the former Purdue head coach.
Yeah, we have the former Purdue special teams coordinator too. So I certainly I think we have a good feel, but they also have 17 of their 22 starters are transfers. So there's only 5 guys that are starters for their team that were on the team that Coach Walters coached. So welcome to football in 2025, where you would think you'd have an advantage, and then you find out that 10 of the 11 starters on defense weren't there. All right, we'll see you next.